how to build and operate this cool stationary steam engine with electric generator on this episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. Hello again, this is Mike, and yes, I know this isn't technically a toy train item, but I consider it a toy train adjacent item. I mean, after all, isn't one of the reasons that we all love to operate trains is that we have a love for steam engines? After all, there's something magical about the way that water and heat get turned into motion, and in this case, electricity as well. And so to have an engine that you can build and operate on your own desktop and watch the dance of the cylinders and the valve gear, just the total steam experience, well, I think most toy train enthusiasts would like to have something like this. And I think this model in particular, this is the SE-02 Retrol model, would look perfect sitting on any pre-war style standard or O-gauge tin plate layout, whether operating or not. And so when our friends at StirlingKit sent me this model to build and operate and review, I jumped at the opportunity. So let's walk through the steps of how I built this stationary steam engine with electric generator.
And again, they sent me this to have some fun with and to demonstrate for everyone. And let's see what it's like to put this one together. This kit, unlike my previous ones, like the Rocking Whale, this one includes a generator and a light so that you can see that it's actually doing some work. And here's an on-off switch for the generator. So you see you've got the same steam engine set up, the reverser, and here is the generator. This is kind of definitely an upgrade from the other, although it does look like, just glancing here, it looks like it's a smaller boiler, but probably still gets the job done. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Okay, so opening it up, there is our flywheel. That is cool. We've got our electrical components here. We've got our light and lamp post, switches. Here's our crank rods. That's nice. That's all already assembled. That saves a lot. And yeah, here is the boiler. Oh, with the sight glass already installed. So this is not as large a boiler as the Rocking Whale. Let's get the Rocking Whale out here to compare the two. So yeah, just looking at the difference in the size of the sight glass, you can tell that the Rocking Whale has a much larger boiler, but this should still get the job done. And there's the generator. We've got some tubing. All kinds of stuff. Okay, so there's our small parts. We don't have all of the bags, numbered bags that we had in the Rocking Whale. Here's our tools. Tweezers, a couple Allen wrenches, and some tubing. Okay, again, not exactly sure. And this is our burner. It's a much smaller burner than on the Rocking Whale as well. So, we'll see what we've got to do here. And step one is done. So far, so good. All right, so step two is completed. We are rolling right along. Unlike the Rocking Whale kit that had some screws that were so small I couldn't even see them, the smallest piece I've encountered on this so far is a standard M3 machine screw, and even I can see those. So that's one of the reasons why construction is moving right along, and we're just going to keep going. Steps 5, 6, and 7 give us most of our drive components in place. We are cruising right along with his build. Okay, we are now all the way through step 8, and we are starting to add electrical components. This is going to be cool when it is done. One evening's work. I'm all the way through step 12, so making much better progress on this than I did on the Rocking Whale. The parts are easier to handle, easier to see, and a lot of the sub-assemblies are already done for you. All right, so we've finished step 14. We're getting ready to put the boiler on. So this is step 15 out of 16. There we go. Well, that was easy enough. Down to what I think is the last screw of the boiler assembly here. Now, when building these kits for review, normally I will, as much as possible, use the tools they provide. But in this case, just because of my hands, I am upgrading to a ratcheting driver here to make it a little easier on myself. Some of these are difficult to put in because they're under pressure. Now, the only thing left should be adding the pulleys and the burner. Okay, so we've got a small burner tray, much smaller than on our rocking whale, but I do like this heat shield much better than the flap with those teeny tiny hinges that were on the rocking whale. I do like this better, and it sits down in there. I do like that.
So the operation on this model, of course, we have the alcohol burner down here, which heats up the boiler. Here is our safety valve, and this also is removed. This is where the water fill goes in. We also have an operating whistle. Here is our regulator valve. So we close this off to let the steam build up, and then we release it to let the steam out into the engine. And this gets very hot, so that's why I'm using a small screwdriver. They supply tweezers. I like the small screwdriver. It fits right in there very well. The steam builds up in the boiler. The valve releases it through here. This pipe goes back into the boiler, acting as a kind of a poor man's superheater, taking that steam and heating it again in the boiler before sending it out here to our cylinders, where we have two, not just one, but two drive shafts, turning the really large flywheel, which in turn turns the electric generator, providing power for the light. And then this, of course, is the reverse mechanism, so you can turn it either direction. It has no impact on the light whatsoever, just whichever direction you would prefer it to spin.
The only two problems I encountered at all with the assembly here was when I first put this together, there was some binding, and what I found was this nut right here was adjusted so that it was slamming against this piece here. So with just a little adjustment of sliding it down this way, making some room, now we have some smooth. So what would happen was it would get to right there and it would get caught. So just by giving that a couple little turns gives you some freedom right there. And then the only other part that was kind of tricky with assembly was actually the box itself. Underneath these screws are some brass tubing that has to be screwed in from the top and the bottom. And for some reason, three of the four were great. One of them just did not want to align properly and gave me a little bit of a trouble. So it probably took me longer to put in this one piece of brass tubing than any other portion of the entire thing. So from an educational standpoint, if you're looking for something to teach how the steam engine works, well, then maybe the rocking whale is the way to go, because you're actually building all of the linkages and everything. Whereas this one, it's more of a, what can you do with a steam engine? The manifold is already built. The linkages are already built. And it's just a matter of putting these sub-assemblies on and getting yourself set up for the electricity. The electrical connections themselves, very, very easy. It's all color-coded, and we have these handy connectors in here. It couldn't get any easier than that. No soldering or anything like that is required. Fill up the boiler with distilled water. Go one and around 2/3 to 3/4 full. And looking at the sight glass here as we go. Test the safety valve before putting it back in. Pressure regulator is all the way down, so that pressure will build up there. Now we're going to add some cylinder oil. This is our oil injection port right here. This is our steam cylinder oil. And it's probably not going to take very much. And now we will light the fire. It's in our burner. You do not want to use anything less than 91% IPA. I'm using denatured fuel alcohol. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to get this away from any flames. Put our pieces back together. 1, 2. In we go. There we go. Okay, now some tips from future Mike. I've run this several dozen times now, and so some tips that I came up with. First of all, unlike the rocking whale, this one takes a little bit more break-in time. The first 2 or 3, maybe 4 times you fire it up, it doesn't run really smoothly. Matter of fact, the first couple of times, it probably not going to be able to generate enough to consistently turn the light on. And that's okay. As it breaks in, the seals get better. You'll probably have a few leaks when you first fire it up. The seals get better. The operation gets smoother after you break it in a few times. For oil, StirlingKit recommends 0W30 motor oil, which I bought a quart and then broke it down into these small needle point applicators. You want to put that on all of your moving parts of all of your linkages. Every couple of runs. If you haven't run it in a while, definitely oil it up for the first time and then touch it up every 3rd or 4th run. Now, the steam cylinder oil, this is harder to find. You can get a mobile oil version of this that comes in like 5 gallons, and it's really expensive. To find it in smaller quantities like this, the only source I was able to find on Amazon, this steam cylinder oil from AccuCraft trains, and the link for this is in the description. This one doesn't take as much as the rocking whale does, just a little bit. If you look at the injector port here, when you pour in the oil, you want it just to come up to where you can see it coming up through the bottom of the hole there. If you get too much in it, it's going to gum up the works and it's going to slow things down. And so for this, I only do this for the first time. If I'm doing an operating session, the very first time, I'll put some oil in it and I'll probably get 3 or 4 runs before I go in and touch it back up. And that seems to be sufficient. As far as the alcohol burner is concerned, this one, you can fit about 15 milliliters of the alcohol fuel in it, but you do not want to put that much in. It runs best at around 10 milliliters. More than that, and the flame will come up too high and it'll flame up and you won't get a very efficient burn and you'll get flames going places you don't want them to go. The very first time of an operating session, I will start with about 5 milliliters in it, light it, put it in, and I'll shut everything down. And that first fire up, my only goal is to get the water pressure up in the boiler, to get the water warm and to get the steam pressure up. Then about the time that the 5 milliliters burns off, take it out, let it cool so that you're not pouring new alcohol onto a hot receptacle. Of course, make sure it's burned completely out. To cool for a minute, cool enough to the touch, put your 10 milliliters back in, relight it, put it in, and then it only takes a minute or 2 to get the pressure back up and ready to go. And then you've got a full 10, maybe 15 minutes worth of steaming time, and you don't have the delay of waiting for the boiler to come up to pressure. Also, once you have your alcohol in and you're ready to light, make sure that these wicks are pushed down as far as possible. If you get them up too high, then that'll also cause more flame out, and you don't want that. You light it, and then you slide it in, drop it in the slot, and then you just let it heat up. And you'll be able to see the flames through the holes here in the side of the box.
And there you have it, proof that you don't have to have a big boy in your backyard to enjoy the thrills of living, breathing, real live steam engines. Next time, we'll go back to the 3-rail layout, but until then, I'm going to enjoy keeping these steam engines running too. And we'll catch you next time with more toy train tips and tricks. I'm just going to sit back and watch these run for a while.